King Philip II commanded 130 Spanish warships that sailed for England in July of 1588. They had enough weapons and 30,000 soldiers to overthrow Queen Elizabeth I. The Spanish Armada was the biggest naval force at the time and was regarded as invincible, despite ultimately losing to the English. Yes, we don't need to save the English, but let's make one change for fun. The USS Seawolf, a nuclear-powered attack submarine from the 1990s with enough torpedoes to destroy a fleet, is something that shouldn't be underwater for another 400 years. Additionally, it is equipped with enough technology to make a Renaissance battle seem like a food fight. What would happen if Spain's Golden Age military might face off against the most advanced submarine ever built? Let's investigate. The 353-foot USS Seawolf costs more to build than all of Spain's armies combined. Its teardrop-shaped hull slices through the water at about 40 miles per hour, faster than most Spanish ships could go with a storm in their sails. 50 weapons, including Mark 48 rockets that can split a ship into at a distance of 20 meters, are stored in the torpedo room of the USS Seawolf. With 650 pounds of high explosive on board, each torpedo travels at 55 knots under the guidance of a silicon brain and sonar. The Spanish in 1588 would never have comprehended these two technologies. A 200-megawatt nuclear power plant, which can power a small city and never needs to be refueled, is also on board. If the weather permits, ships from Spain must replenish their supplies every few weeks, but the Seawolf can remain submerged for months. The cruise time is only limited by the quantity of beef jerky they brought. Its radar can detect a shrimp sneeze from 50 miles away using sound waves. In 1588, long-range spotting required having a guy in the crow's nest with good vision. Keep that in mind. This is cheating in a sense. The sub knows the location of every Spanish ship before they even realize there is an England to attack. The Seawolf is incredibly quiet due to its anechoic tiles, which absorb sound. It is invisible to the Spanish Armada. The unbeatable Armada, composed of 130 ships, including massive galleons like the 1,000-ton San Martín, which are armed with bronze guns, has been sent across the ocean by Philip II. The majority of the 2,500 guns on these floating castles are small anti-personnel weapons that are incapable of harming a submarine. After decades of combat, the Spanish Navy has developed a defensive crescent maneuver. The objective is to approach the enemy ships, seize them, and then deploy 19,000 combat-trained soldiers who have recently seized half of Europe. Because Spain believed that attacking England would be a good opportunity to gain experience, the Duke of Medina Sidonia, a capable manager who suffers from seasickness and has never held command of a fleet before, is in charge of this enormous wooden ship. Because Spain believed that attacking England would be a good opportunity to gain experience, the Duke of Medina Sidonia, a capable manager who suffers from seasickness and has never held command of a fleet before, is in charge of this enormous wooden ship. Still recovering from the English fire attack the previous evening, the Spanish fleet approaches Gravelines as the sun rises on August 8th. Because they are 130 times more powerful than the New English fleet, they are confident despite being dispersed and lacking anchors. They are perfectly justified in their rage. More than 100 wooden contacts smashing through the waves can be heard by the Seawolf radar from about 40 miles away. That's more noise than a kindergarten class. The sub is as silent as death and approaches them at 20 knots. The torpedo room crew loads it into Tube 1. While its onboard computer examines the sound profile of the flagship San Martín, the Seawolf launches its first torpedo at 6 a.m., a 3,400-pound smart weapon that speeds through the water at 55 knots. The Spanish find it difficult to comprehend that death is rapidly approaching them. They really don't know what the highway speed limits are. 3 minutes later, just beneath the San Martin's bottom, the torpedo explodes. The 1,000-ton galleon actually leaps out of the water and falls back to the water into pieces, its spine broken. The 400 men and the Duke of Medina Sidonia vanish into the strait in an instant. 3 more bombs are detonated just as ships in the area are attempting to determine what happened. The Seawolf's crew is incredibly productive. They can fire 8 rounds before needing to reload. With no enemy in sight, Spanish captains watch as the bottom of their ship suddenly explodes. While some people pray, others scream scarecrows. Some of the more astute ones simply sail in the opposite direction. The largest and noisiest ships in the fleet, such as troop transports and command ships, are always targeted by the submarine. A different Spanish ship sinks every 3 minutes, and a new bomb detonates every 3 minutes. It's not even close to being a warlike battle. Within an hour, 15 sizable Spanish battleships vanish entirely from the map. Men who awoke with the intention of conquering England are now questioning their forefathers about what transpired. The surviving Spanish make every effort. Unplanned, they fire guns into the water and toss rocks at a ghost. To hit any devils that might be below, some people toss barrels of gunpowder over the side. In a panic, one captain orders his men to stab the ocean with spikes. It goes fairly well, as anticipated. The iconic crescent shape of the Armada seems to disintegrate more quickly than New Year's resolutions. Ships attempting to escape collide. The captain declares, "It's full sail north, south, or anywhere else but here." It transforms the most well-organized naval force in the world into a terrified mob. However, even time-traveling machines have their limitations. The Seawolf has 50 guns, not 130. It must decide which bombs to use next after using 30 to sink the Armada's core. As the powder stores explode and the crew pursues ammunition ships, there are breathtaking fireworks. What started out as an attack had evolved into a runaway by midday. Spanish ships can be found all over the world. Some go to the Netherlands, while others go to France. Many of them simply want to return home and put the incident behind them. The submarine tracks the largest group running north and occasionally launches a torpedo to let them know that the ocean now despises them. Spanish ships can be found all over the world. Some go to the Netherlands, while others go to France. Many of them simply want to return home and put the incident behind them. The submarine tracks the largest group running north and occasionally launches a torpedo to let them know that the ocean now despises them. The spirit of Spain crumbles. The Spanish Armada ceases to be a fighting force as the sun sets. 30 ships have reportedly been sunk, 20 more are pursuing them, and everyone else is fleeing for their lives. The tunnel is filled with barrels, wreckage, and soldiers who are either dead or very confused. Those Spanish who survive tell wild tales of invisible demons, explosions from below, and England's battle with the devil. To get what they want, the Inquisition may attempt to convert to Satanism. To put it briefly, they will never understand what happened to them. Spain never tries to invade England again because sailors simply won't enter English waters, not because they can't build more ships. The haunted channel thus becomes a perpetual mental wall. When he passes away, King Philip II is certain that the devil is collaborating with Protestant England and that God has abandoned Spain. Since the Armada was destroyed before England knew they were coming, it is odd that the Pope has issued numerous bulls condemning whatever evil weapon the English used. Without firing a shot, the British Empire gains 400 years of advantage in terms of dominating the waves, and England's naval reputation soars. After destroying the Spanish Navy, most likely with only a few torpedoes remaining, the Seawolf might be able to travel to Spain and introduce democracy to the empire. But that's a different time period. In our tale, a single submarine accomplished more in 8 hours than the entire 1600s did in a year. In addition to losing, the Spanish Armada was completely destroyed, leaving a legacy of PTSD. You might be wondering what would happen if a modern tank engaged in combat at Gettysburg after watching the film. Additionally, be sure to join and press the bell if you're curious about what would happen if a Navy SEAL engaged in combat in the Colosseum. I appreciate you viewing this.